Liverpool 3, Bournemouth 0. Another clean sheet for Liverpool. They've only conceded 1 goal in 5 games. Another 3-0 win for them. We don't talk about the last 3-0 win. And Liverpool, yet again, like the Milan game, like the Manchester United game, like every game, bar the Nottingham Forest game, were absolutely incredible. They're playing some brilliant football. I thought the midfield was unbelievable. McAllister, Gravenberch just looks like a completely different player. Keller has stepped in well. Konate were a monstrous performance. And unfortunately, Liverpool are top of the league. Now, the positive is that they won't stay top of the league because Man City and Arsenal have to play each other. And if Arsenal win, well, they go top. If it's a draw, City go top. If City win, they go top. But considering, a week ago they'd lost to Forest, and I was seeing this meltdown online that Slot might not be it, and all of that, and I was thinking, well, maybe Slot's lack of transfer window isn't helping him because he hasn't got anyone new other than Chiesa, who's not really played yet. Let's be honest, considering the lack of transfer window, considering that you've made Ryan Gravenberch a new player and you've given Luis Diaz end product, I think Slot's doing a very good job, and I think even if it does, the wheels do fall off at Liverpool. He needs the backing, clearly. As a Man United fan, I'm not enjoying this because I thought Liverpool looked really good. 4 big chances they had today. Maybe Salah was a little bit wasteful, but I thought everyone for Liverpool was really good. I want to particularly talk about Diaz, Konate, Gravenberch, maybe a little bit about McAllister, Nunez and Chiesa towards the end of the video, but I don't want this to be longer than 10 minutes because I'm going over to Alice Talks Football to do my watch-along for the Palace game. Fingers crossed United win because Chelsea, Tottenham, everyone else is winning. These United have got to win. But the good thing is about City, Arsenal was at least one of them will drop points this weekend. But let's talk about the Liverpool game. It was the opposite to the Forest game. They look so deadly. They look so fast when attacking. It was like the Forest game was a blip. They're going to beat AC Milan. First 5 minutes versus AC Milan was poor, and Liverpool have woken up. I thought Diaz and Gravenberch under Slot, they look like new players. I mean, Diaz was good when he first came into Liverpool, but I know he had a lot of off-the-field issues last year with his dad and stuff, which obviously must have been difficult for him. But with Diaz, I remember just seeing a really good player. I remember the Manchester City game that you guys drew 1-1, which arguably you deserved to win. You actually outplayed City, and this was when you were still in the title race. And I remember Diaz just tearing them apart, but lacking the end product. Today, Diaz is bringing the end product because that's not easy goals to score. Like, Diaz does incredibly well. His movement, his run, his finishing, his dribbling ability, everything. I mean, Konate, the ball was unbelievable. The way Trent worked in that goal, unbelievable as well. I thought Kelleher was composed for a second keeper, always impresses me. I think he's got to be one of the best second keepers out there. We're going to talk about Konate. Like, people don't understand. I think Konate, you could argue, was man of the match. Diaz and Gravenberch were incredible. But if you actually look at Konate's involvement in the ball progression of all 3 goals, Konate, unbelievable today. Salah probably didn't have his best game, but Salah's not a bad player. He still got an assist. Maybe he was greedy at times. I think Salah doesn't seem to get subbed off at all by Slot, and I think that actually it'd be good for Salah for him to be subbed off. Now, I'm not going to compare Salah to Garnacho. Salah is on a different level to Garnacho, but last season, Eric Ten Hag played Garnacho 35 games in a row, 90 minutes for like 35 games in a row because Rashford was bad, Anthony was bad, and everyone else was injured. And you'd see Garnacho be good, you see him be bad, you see him sort of be a bit tired. This season, he's been sort of starting him here, benching him here, resting him here. Garnacho's got 8 goal contributions in 2 starts for Man United this season. And I think, not comparing Salah to Garnacho, but I do think that he should keep Salah fresh. I think the West Ham game, maybe give Chiesa a run on the right wing. I think now you've got Chiesa who can play on the right. I think if you keep Salah fresh, you'll get the best out of him because you don't want to run him into the ground. And I think Salah was not at his best, and I felt that Salah's an unbelievable player, but I think he could do with a little bit of a rest. Just don't run him into the ground, especially as he's aging. But let's talk about Liverpool. 1 goal and 5 games conceded, 4 clean sheets. The attack is thriving. The midfield is thriving. Gravenberch is looking like an unbelievable player. Gravenberch is 22. Do you know what? I did a video on Gravenberch when he was at Ajax 3 years ago, and I was saying I think he'll be better than Bellingham. And then everyone was mocking me for how badly that aged. But I'm not going to. He's a completely different player to Bellingham, but it was Gravenberch and Bellingham 3 years ago, which were the 2 young players that were talked about, the mad potential. So we will talk about Gravenberch later on. But let's talk about my man of the match, Konate. Konate's passing was impressive. The pass he played for the Diaz goal, that's a Trent pass. That is a Trent pass. And Konate today, when I think of Konate, I think of athletic monster. I think of a physical monster. When you think of pace, when you think of power, when you're thinking wide channel defender, ground coverage, that is Konate. When you're thinking, if you need to create a defender to defend against the Haaland, because Haaland is tall, he's strong, he's fast. When you need to create a defender that's going to defend against the Haaland, you need someone that is strong, you need someone that is fast, you need someone that is physical, that is mobile. And that is Konate. He's that kind of defender. But he's also very, very good on the ball. And players like Konate and William Saliba, I really like because they're one of those players that people really struggle to beat them 1v1. They can defend 1v1, they can defend the wide channels, they can cover the ground, but they've also got the good abilities on the ball. And today, what's shown about Konate wasn't his beast defending or his box defending, him being good in the air. It was his ability to progress the ball, which I think is a really underrated aspect of his game, because I think when you think of Konate, you think off the ball monster. But he was calm under pressure, he was distributing the ball well, and his quality on the ball, he was almost involved in all 3 goals if you look back and how it starts from him and the progression. I thought he was key for Liverpool today, and I think you could argue man of the match, but when you win 3-0, you do normally give an attacker man of the match. For some reason I couldn't find his overall game numbers, but these are Luis Diaz's first half numbers, and he was much better in the first half. 5 duels won, and one thing I always say about Luis Diaz, and I've said this ever since he's joined Liverpool, is he works hard. He works incredibly hard for Liverpool. He's one of the most hardest working wingers out there. Absolutely. Always working his socks off. Most duels won, gets back, tracks back, but always eager to get forward and make things happen. Most touches in opposition box, most shots on target 4. And that shows to me that he's got that confidence. Now he's got a few goals this season. He's got that confidence to shoot. He's got the intelligence and movement to run into shooting areas. So his output should naturally go up. And he's becoming more clinical with the 2 goals, so output went up. But most take-ons completed. Diaz is a player that can take on his player, that can carry the ball, that works incredibly hard, presses incredibly hard. That's what I think of when I think of Luis Diaz. Now he's a guy that is doing all of that, but then he's getting the output. And that's what you need. I was talking about this in my Newcastle video. Harvey Barnes. They sold St-Maximin. They brought in Harvey Barnes. Harvey Barnes was really injured last year for Newcastle. But I said, Newcastle need Harvey Barnes if they want to go up a level, because he provides output. And you get to a point where if you want to be a top side, you need a player that has output. If you have loads of really good technical players around them and you have a player that has output, you will thrive. Salah has output. Mane had output. Firmino sort of made them even better. Now, I'm not comparing Diaz to Mane, but I think today elements of his game was Mane-esque. But now he's bringing output, which is something that Jota normally does, but hasn't done as well this season. You're seeing how important that output is. With Luis Diaz, I said this, performed well, performed at a different level this season. 5 goals and 1 assist in 5 games. I thought Cody Gakpo versus Milan was unbelievable, and I think Cody Gakpo almost deserved to start because of his performance versus Milan. So that put a lot of pressure on Diaz, and he delivered. And maybe that competition will be really good for him. Anthony Gordon went up a level last season when Newcastle brought in Harvey Barnes because of the competition. Diaz just looks sharper. He looks sharper. He looks more confident. His end products improved, but he's making runs outside, inside. And one thing about slot system that Klopp doesn't have is slot system allows the attackers to be more flexible in their movement. They don't need to just stay out wide. They can move inside. It allows for attacking rotations. And I think Diaz, because of his movement, unpredictability, and energy, he's thriving in that. He's making the runs inside. He's able to get the diagonal passes. And I think, he's very, very good. I think 1v1, there's times where he's not going to be as clinical as a Son and stuff like that, but he's looking much more clinical with a Mane-esque performance today. And I think his movement, I think, his mobility, his awareness, his positional sense, and the overloads that Liverpool were creating in attack. I think Szoboszlai's off the ball movement was actually really helping with that, which I think a lot of people didn't notice. I think it allowed Diaz to get in, cut in, shoot from distance, which is something that he's very good at. Once you can get Diaz in those spaces, he can add end product to his game. And I think Diaz adding end product is really important for Liverpool. But let's talk about Liverpool's player of the season so far. It's only been 6 games, but I feel like he's not had a bad performance for Liverpool. Even versus Forest, when Liverpool were bad, he was like the only bright spark, and that is Gravenberch with a phenomenal performance. And I did a video in pre-season June or something, if Gravenberch could play as a 6, and I said he's got the on-the-ball abilities. The question will be, does he have the off-the-ball abilities? Does he have the defensive awareness and the defensive abilities? Is he rash? Gravenberch, these last 2 or 3 games in particular, has shown he's got the defensive awareness and abilities to actually potentially play as a 6, even though he's always been a number 8. He was unbelievable, very good on the ball. I think he played a really good ball into Salah, and McAllister played an unreal ball into Salah as well, actually. And 11 passes into the final third. He can break the lines, he can dictate play. But what Gravenberch was signed for was his immense ball carrying ability. You saw his confidence getting the ball, striding forward. He's got that ball carrying ability. But 9 recoveries, and he won 7 out of 11 duels. So decent duel success rate, winning his duels, making recoveries, but defensive action 6. He's showing that he's bringing that defensive element to his game, which I think is so key, because I always said with Gravenberch, he can do it on the ball, but if he is actually going to be a DM, he's got to show it off the ball, and he's showing the defensive awareness, he's showing the positional awareness, as well as being elite on the ball. And his last 2 games, he's put in Rodri level performances. Now, I'm not going to compare him to Rodri. He needs to do that Arsenal way. He needs to do that Man City way. He needs to do that more consistently. But you look at Gravenberch right now, and the performances he's putting in is absolutely incredible. He looks like a new player for Liverpool. He's one of the most informed midfielders in the league. I think he's been one of the best players this season. He's been so good. And he's only 22 years of age, so he's on track to become this top-level midfielder. He looks like a new signing. His ball-carrying ability, his ability to adapt to a new position in the toughest league in the world, when he's had sort of 2 seasons before that of playing here and there for Bayern and Liverpool and getting warmed up. And he's just taken to that role so well, because I think this was a massive season for Gravenberch, because he showed elements of what he could do at Liverpool last year. And I thought actually when Liverpool dropped off towards the end of the season, he looked a little bit better. But you're really seeing the Gravenberch that I watched at Ajax. I wanted Man United to sign Gravenberch, and I was annoyed when he went to Bayern. There's a reason why I wanted Gravenberch at United, but when he joined Liverpool, I was a little bit annoyed. Even though he had a poor season at Bayern, because I've watched this guy at Ajax. I've done videos on this guy at Ajax. And you're seeing what Gravenberch can bring in the 6th role as well. And he's got the turning and carrying the ball ability. He's got the abilities on the ball. But his defensive contributions is what's really impressed me. I saw this. Bournemouth don't know what to do with Gravenberch. Step off and he'll break the lines and provide a lovely switch. Get tight and he'll drop shoulder and glide past you. And the reason I think he's not taking a big liking to Endo, the reason Slot I don't think is taking a big liking to Endo, is while Endo's brilliant off the ball, on the ball he has those struggles where he could lose the ball, he could be caught out. Gravenberch, you don't know what to do with him. You don't know how to deal with him. And you were seeing that today as well. And I think Liverpool will need to buy number 6 or another 6/8 hybrid in January just for depth, because you've got Gravenberch, McAllister, Soberslide, but there's not much depth there. I think Harvey Elliott can play in the more advanced roles. I do actually think there's a good player on Curtis Jones. But you've lost Thiago, I believe. Did you lose someone else as well? But I do think you need a left centre-back for depth because of Matip, a Thiago replacement, or someone that can be back up to Gravenberch, potentially a long-term Robertson replacement, and then potentially another winger if you were going to bring in 4 additions, just because I think the depth could be something that we see towards the end of the season. But there's no doubt in my mind that with the tools he's got, the way he's improving players, Slot's done an unreal job. And I think Nunez looked sort of shocked for confidence, didn't look right when he came on versus Forest, but you could see that goal meant a lot for him. It was a fantastic goal, and that may give Nunez confidence. And I think, Shota, I think is more clinical than Nunez, and is someone that comes off the bench like Trossard and can win a game. But I think Nunez's movement and work rate, particularly his movement, his runs in behind, how he can create space. If you can get the good Nunez at Liverpool, there's a good player there. He's just so mustard. That's how I describe it. Sometimes Nunez plays and I'm like, what is he doing? And sometimes Nunez plays and I'm like, this is a monster. Can Slot find that good Nunez like he did with Jimenez? Can Slot find that? And then lastly, Chiesa. I think he had a bright debut, sent the defender to the floor within 10 seconds, getting closer to match fitness. He's rapid, he's direct, he's bright. He had the confidence to take on the volley. I think he will be bright off the bench, and maybe he gets a bit of game time versus West Ham. Let me know your thoughts down below. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye.